Welcome to the Writing Gals Trope Talk. Today we're talking about the trope fish out of water. I'm Michelle,
And I'm Victorine.
and we have been having fun chatting about this trope before we got on here and having some good laughs. So, what is fish out of water, Victorine?
It is when one of your characters is in a situation that is totally foreign to them. So, literally, fish out of water, we talked about the movie Splash.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that old classic.
I got the giggles over that one. That's literally the fish out of water, right? Where the whole point is watching this character in a new situation, exploring everything out. Exploring and figuring it out, and then seeing how awkward they are, how clueless they are, how amazed and shocked they are. And like we talked about last week, it might be that they're stepping into a billionaire's world. So that's one way you can write this trope or use this trope, but it can take on just about any situation you want it to. It can be like a fantasy, like where it's an actual mermaid. We also have a Korean drama with the mermaid trope, which is Legend of the Deep Blue Sea, or
That
is
is
it
a
Blue Sea?
really good Korean drama. If you
Legend of the
haven't
Blue
seen
Sea.
it,
Very
it's a good
good.
one.
Good kiss scenes. You
Yes.
even see a hint of a tongue in that one, which is very unusual
Unusual,
for a
but
Korean
very
drama.
good.
It was like, what? I was watching the kiss that close. Yes, I was. Okay. For like the third or fourth time. Okay. And then it could be like an office romance where like one of them hasn't, worked in an office or been in that business. So it can be like really simple. Um, or it can be like the bigger contrast where it can be like the city versus the country, which you'll find in just about every Hallmark
Hmm.
movie out there, right? So you just really bring out the things that they don't like, or like, oh my gosh, I stepped in the cow patty, or like, just like all the things that are really shocking for them. Um, sometimes it might be a personality difference, where somebody like who's like shy or like a wallflower or like really insecure has to go into this big bustling office, right, where everything is driven by confidence and knowledge and being capable and not being afraid to do things. And so you just really have to look at what the situation that you're putting your characters in and make who they are as a character something that's going to be, really out of place in that world where you set your story. And that's basically um that, like, what it is, but what's the purpose of drawing this big contrast?
The purpose is to show our character growing from point A to point B, right? From totally inept to learning how to navigate through this world and the change that comes in them over that time.
Yes, and I don't know who said this. I don't remember because I'm putting myself on the spot here, but there's a whole thing where a fish and a bird might fall in love, but where will they build a nest, right?
Yeah.
And you have a little bit of that element in this trope, like um somehow or other they will find common ground. They will love each other, and then they still have to figure out, like, where do we go now? Like
Yeah.
with the mermaid, does he go into the sea or does she live permanently on land? Is she gonna move to the country or is he gonna move to the city? Like at some point, there has to be some kind of compromise. Um, and so that is a big part of the conflict, where one of them doesn't belong there. And are they going to sacrifice? Who's going to sacrifice so that they can be together in the end? And I love the concept of using sacrifice in romance. And I don't think we actually talk about it enough. Um, Usually, your characters, whatever the conflict is, it's driven by their goals, right? And so I think one of the best ways to bring the element of sacrifice into a romance is for them to sacrifice their goals.
Mm.
But it might also be to sacrifice their life, their comfort, the world that they've always known. And that's what this trope is. This trope brings that sacrifice of, I'm going to give up something that's really important to me, that makes me happy and comfortable, for the chance of finding something even better with you, right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes they have to just become a different person to make the fish out of water character feel more comfortable in their world. I think a good example of this is Pretty Woman,
Mm-hmm.
where she is obviously, not used to the world that Richard Gere's character plays, that is full of luxury and elegance and manners and, propriety, societal expectations, all these things. And so at first, it's just fun and cute to see her like, making all these awkward gaffes and like doing all these silly things that are embarrassing, and he finds it really charming. And I think that's a really common one in Fish Out of Water, is
Yeah.
that the character who's making all the awkwardness is going to be embarrassed by it, and the other character is going to be intrigued by it or
Yeah.
interested. Like, this is new, this is cute, this is very something, very intriguing. I like this person because they're different. She's not like all the other girls, kind of
That's
thing.
right.
But in the end, how long does that cute factor last? How long can you really play that before it comes down to, okay, do I build a life with this person?
Yeah.
And so like, how do you really fit these two worlds together, these two people together?
Good.
So another Fish Out of Water story is Enchanted.
Yes, that's a
So
great one.
that's got a little bit of the fantasy and kind of peeks into the Cinderella trope that we're going to talk about next week. But she's coming from a cartoon world into a real world, and in the end, like, she drives him absolutely bonkers through the whole show. And she just seems too pure and too naive and too, um, set in this make believe fantasy way of looking at the world. And he just can't stand it because he's so cynical and so um, not able to see the the positive side of being a little naive,
Yeah.
being extra kind, being willing to give everybody a chance and trust them. And so his character's growth is being able to embrace that, accept that, like that. And in the end, they still have to figure out, like, okay, now what? We like each other, and now what?
Now what? Yes.
Now what? So that is the key to every romance. Okay,
Right. Now what?
what? So yeah. Oh, we were going to talk about the alien one, but we decided that that one wasn't Fish Out of Water
Oh
in
yeah.
Love from the Star,
Yeah.
didn't we, as a K-drama? So I'm just going to put a pin in that one for when we get to a trope like that, because you guys have to watch that one too.
That's a good one.
Is anybody making a list of the dramas that we suggest you watch?
Yes. Let us know if you watch one and what you think. Put it in the comments down below.
Yes. So have you written any Fish Out of Water?
Oh yeah. Most of the time it is, somebody sucked into the billionaire world and something like that. But let me think if I've written one that's like in the country or
I'm
not that I
writing
can
one
think
right
of.
now.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I just finished one. Actually, it's she is not from the South, but she goes to the South and everybody's prim and proper and she is not. So
That's
yeah,
not the
that's
South I grew up in. It can be in certain places, but just not my particular South.
that's funny.
No, so I picked my daughter up a little bit ago, and I don't know why. I said something, and all of my Southern accent came out, and I was kind of just rolling with it. And I was like, I've got to stop, or I'm going to end up talking like this on a podcast. And people are going to be like, "What happened to Michelle?" And I'm going to be like, "Look, this is my childhood. This is what I grew up with." Okay. Yeah, it's so the one I'm writing right now is based in the South too, and it's a girl from California. And I really need to finish this because I've been kind of slow on it, but
Mhm.
she is a life coach.
Ah,
And she comes from wealth. And then she went through a really bad marriage because of her family pressuring her into marrying the wrong guy and like all these things. And now she's at this, she got through this really devastating place in her life because somebody like helped her through it, like a coach. And so she became this thing. Well, so my hero is this good old Southern boy whose sister wants him to do something more with his life than live on, the farm
mm,
with their grandma. And so she sends this life coach out to try and like get him motivated to do bigger things with his life. And so there's like a really fun contrast between the city girl from California coming to like life like I knew it growing up,
nice.
where it's like not small town, it's small town,
I love it.
small town. And so it's really, really fun to really highlight not just like the differences in his world and her world, but to have them embrace different things about each other's
Sure.
preferences, cultures, likes, experiences, to find all those connections. So you're going to have those really intimate moments, and I think that that is important in this trope where they have a lot of one-on-one, face-to-face. We're going to have real conversations. We're going to share our feelings about things, our beliefs about things, and that's how they're eventually going to get aligned and connected and get to know who is this person beyond the trappings of the life that they had before you came
Yeah.
into my world. Like we're all built so much by the culture, our social structure, our education, our religion, our socioeconomic situation. Like all of those things build us into who we are as people and form all of our ideals and hopes and dreams. And then we get smashed together with somebody whose life was really, really different than ours.
Yeah.
But somehow we can still get to where we share the same like convictions
Mhm.
and desires. And I think that that's really, really interesting. Um, so in between like fixing flat tires on a dirt road and like milking a goat and like having, you know, this is a really funny story I'm going to tell in my story from my small town where the little city government hired this guy who had no qualifications to put speed bumps in around town. And that's how small town politics works. Like you don't hire somebody who can do the job. You hire somebody's like cousin.
Yeah.
you know?
That's true.
They put speed bumps all over our town that were like this high. They didn't have like any like ramp up to them, and they were like 18 inches high, like so high. And they didn't tell anybody they were doing it.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody knew. And then all of a sudden, just one day they were all there. High grounding up on these
Oh, no.
like getting stuck right and left on these speed bumps. This is when this is when I was in high school, and we were outside for like lunch, and the Pepsi truck came because back in those days we still had vending machines on school grounds, and the Pepsi truck comes to do his delivery, and he hits one of those speed bumps, and you just hear this, ba-choom, like where he like comes down hard, and the back of the truck flies open, and Pepsi cans are just flying everywhere, and they're hitting the road and spraying right and left, and kids are running out and grabbing cans of Pepsi, and it was just so funny. But like everybody in town, like I had a little car, like a little Mazda that couldn't make it over these speed bumps, and you literally had to like go into the ditch
Oh my
around
goodness.
these things, and then they finally had to go through and like fix them all.
Oh my
But that's
goodness.
what happens in a small town.
Yep.
And I know I just went off on a tangent, but like Like, I really feel like so many of these small town romances were written by people who lived in small towns because they talk about you having like a bakery and a wedding shop and like all these like cutesy stores. No, my town had one bank and a funeral home and a gas station. That was it. That was all we had. And man, that funeral home stayed in business because only old people lived in our town.
Or the other thing I love about small towns is you have like a combination bowling alley, gas station, and winery or
It was
something
like
really weird
all the
together.
things. All the things, yes. And like our gas station was called Hugs and Biscuits. And they were the only place in town you could go to get something to eat. Like the only place. You had to go to Hugs and Biscuits.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm bringing a city girl into my hometown, and it's gonna be fun because she's gonna be the best. It's gonna be the best fish out of water story
I
ever.
love it.
Anyway, but next week we're gonna talk about Cinderella's story, which
Yes.
tropes, which is like a fish out of water,
Yeah.
but a very specific one.
All
And it's got
righty.
a minute, so be here.
Be
next
here.
week.
And don't forget to check out our academy, which is a collection of classes that we've had in our conferences. It's only $9.95 a month, or if you want to do a yearly subscription, it's only $99, and you get access to, I think it's over 70 now in there, and we add more every month. And it's a great opportunity to just get access to a ton of cool classes.
When it works for you, you don't have to wait for a conference to come around. You're like, this is a good time for me to do some studying on my craft, and so you can do it in our academy, and then maybe fill in like do a few classes every month as you have time. Yep, it's great. We're always excited about it. Be sure and subscribe as well, and we would love to hear from you in the comments about your favorite fish out of water stories or ideas you have or questions you have. We'd love to get some conversations going in the comments. So we'll see you guys next week. In the meantime, happy writing.